How's it going, guys? It's Pride here, and today we're going to be reviewing Boruto's latest chapter called Thorn Soul. Now, this chapter is pretty insane. Like, it leaves a lot of new questions out on the table. It dives into Boruto's latent power and potential, like showing how much he is truly trained up into these years and how much everybody else has been just slacking. Let's be honest here, in terms of training and getting ready for the big threats. Everyone thought it was just cold, but man, as this chapter and the lore develops, we find more and more things that truly is becoming pretty concerning for the entire planet that Boruto lives on. Like, Kawaki is just a thing of the past, like, and code already been forgotten. Like, I don't even know where that man's at this point. But none of that matters as we dive into the latest chapter, chapter 12, Thorn Soul. Now, that name is already very telling, and we get into that more later towards the end of the chapter. But for the rest of the chapter, it's pretty action-packed, and like, it shows you some pretty interesting things that I'm definitely going to try to elaborate on and, you know, get my own theories on how these things came to be or what some things definitely mean. Before all that, if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts on the chapter and how you feel about Boruto as, you know, the chapters are developing. Are you liking it more? Are you hating it more? Is it feeling good for you? You know, comment all those things down below if you want to. Give the channel a look and enjoy the rest of the video. Now, starting off, we have Boruto pretty much standing off against the fake Sasuke, the tree Sasuke. Basically, Boruto saving the day as, you know, per usual. Dripped out like you wouldn't believe. Everyone's shocked to see him, especially how fast he got in there. But the main thing to take away is that Boruto is very confident in everything that is going down. He's very calm and collected, like he has everything handled. As we find out later in the chapter, there's a good reason for this. On the next page, you know, Boruto leans down and basically drops off Himawari, and he shouts out to Konohamaru, describing him as Master Konohamaru, so, you know, speaking to him respectfully, which will definitely probably throw Konohamaru off, saying how to Konohamaru, Boruto's a traitor. But so far, Boruto only makes a small request as to keep Himawari safe. But Boruto's opponent is not fazed by him being here and immediately just goes for the attack. In the next page over, Boruto doesn't care as he easily deflects, you know, the most minimal movement necessary in order to handle his opponent. Just pure skill at this point. Like, he's not going too flashy with it, you know, it does look pretty stylish, but he's just doing the bare minimum in order to deflect and then counterattack with this new technique that he's using, the wind style breakthrough. Now, this technique is pretty much the more offensive version than his support technique, and when he used the wind vacuum skill to propel himself forward. And this is also Mitsuki's technique, which I don't think Boruto ever actually, we don't ever see Boruto learning this technique, but he is a wind style user, and again, this technique just blows away his opponent, which again is very similar to how he just, you know, propelled himself with his own skill back in the day. Now he just made it a little bit more offensive. So there's a lot of ways he could have learned this technique, out of just, you know, ingenuity. He's a genius after all. This has been displayed and said time and time again, you know, he's just good with it when it comes to ninjutsu. Like, he's that guy. Using a new skill like this shouldn't be too big of a deal, but he definitely could have learned it from Mitsuki. So that only gives the other option of Orochimaru, which isn't a shocker because, you know, knowing Orochimaru's track record, it wouldn't be a stretch to say that he'll work with a traitor. Let's just be honest. But again, this also could just be the natural progression of the skill that he's had in the past. So we see him get blown away, but, you know, he uses the claw marks in order to teleport. Boruto takes the defensive maneuver, and then it goes over to Kawaki, which he's already tracked down Boruto's chakra, come to the conclusion that he must have had some type of space-time ninjutsu, which he doesn't know anything about Minato, which he should, but, you know, he doesn't care about keeping up the appearance. If he knew what that skill was, he'd be a little bit more informed about Minato's most famous skill. However, he just chalks it up to just some type of space-time ninjutsu and just like, okay, that's it. Yeah, we can see Kawaki looking down at Jura, and Delta's talking to the team, you know, getting an update on where Himawari went and the Team 10, and it seems like they're pretty much safe. But Kawaki's not caring as he's just looking at Jura, being a little angry that he's just standing there, not doing anything, just looking off in a direction. But later on, we'll find out why Jura is just standing there, looking off into the distance. Back with Boruto, Konohamaru takes care of Himawari, but he's also not letting his guard down around Boruto, trying to get why he's even here in the first place, which Sarada got to put this man back into reality, saying that, hey, this man that you're antagonizing is the only person that has been able to put up a good fight so far, so you might want to chill out. Konohamaru takes that, calms down a little bit and starts, giving some information to Boruto that he probably didn't think that he knew much about. Which Boruto basically says, yeah, I know all about the claw marks. Thanks, bud. And Boruto does something which is pretty much grown up of him. He decides to use the assets around him instead of just trying to focus and shoulder all of the burden himself. He decides to just have everyone cooperate as he goes into the sensory unit guy and basically tells him to be on the lookout for any change in chakra, even though the sensory guy doesn't want to listen to him. That's when Boruto's old time classmate decides to talk for the first time and basically tells Boruto that Hidari is only going after Sarada. Like, he is like not going after nobody else, otherwise they'll be in deep trouble. Now, this is interesting that she's here, even though she obviously hasn't shown any combat ability. She is in the fight with these guys, and she has been running around with Sarada like she could help in some way, but so far she hasn't really done anything, which is also a little peculiar, seeing how she is also shrouded in mysteries, but more on that later. Sarada speaks back up, saying that Hidari for some reason wants to devour her, and she's getting the connection that he's related to like her dad becoming a tree, which even Konohamaru is surprised to hear, and he even thinks about his friend, but he draws the connection that, his friend also got turned into a tree. And Boruto's basically confirming that, yeah, the only reason that Hidari is even around right now is because Sasuke is a tree, and he's using Sasuke's chakra as a sword while keeping Sasuke alive. And I want to add, this does mean that Sasuke is still alive, because he has to be in order for Hidari to still be using him as like a catalyst. It seems like that is the case anyway. We don't know if at some point Hidari will just grow too powerful or become so much of his own being that he doesn't need Sasuke around anymore, that he kind of just like absorb all of his essence permanently. We don't know that for sure yet, but for right now it seems like Sasuke is safe enough. They don't want to get rid of Sasuke because Sasuke is needed to keep the clones alive. Boruto then continues on to tell these guys to not hold back. Don't focus on any of that stuff. In fact, fighting at your full strength is the only way to save Sasuke. Konohamaru is, again, just thrown into shock. He doesn't know what's going on. He's like, how the heck can you even have all this info? Like he just expected Boruto to just an outcast in the woods, not knowing anything. Anyway, for the most part of this chapter, Konohamaru is always just in a state of being perplexed by anything that's happening around him. Boruto, again, snaps him back into reality, but being respectful about it as he keeps on missing Master Konohamaru. That's when the sensory guy says he actually can sense some chakra, and they try to sense exactly where it's coming from, but at the same time, it's coming from everywhere. And we start to see one rise right in front of Boruto, and then we get the answer to why it's coming everywhere. Hidari decided to summon some companions. He decided to get some teammates into the mix, get some confusion going. Even though they're very versatile and powerful, the claw marks are a very telling tale of where you're gonna show up. I mean, it's a studded leather belt on the ground. Yeah, I kind of know where you could possibly come from. You can't come from the air. But back to the chapter, Boruto devised a strategy saying that he'll deal with the numbers himself. Sarada just focus on, protecting herself to the maximum because she is the target, while Konohamaru is telling Sumori to come to him, again, seeing how she's seemingly the most defenseless one here. We know she has like a mythical creature that's like almost rival with the tailed beast, but that's neither here nor there. We don't know where that's coming from. We don't know when that's going to pop up. We just know that she's weird and she's important to the story. She'll show it at some point, I'm sure. And then, we have some scenes where Boruto is going, he's hacking, he's cutting them up. He's doing his thing. Sarada, she does her thing. She decides to go for full taijutsu mode. She starts to kick these guys in the chest. Now, for some reason, it seems like she's not using her Sharingan almost at all or ever. I don't know if she's trying to limit the use of her Sharingan or trying to preserve it. Now, you guys could say, hey, if you use the Mangekyou Sharingan too much, you'll go blind. The thing is, though, you don't have to use the Mangekyou Sharingan. You can turn into the Mangekyou Sharingan, or you can just use your regular 3 Tomoe Sharingan, which you can do infinitely as long as you got the chakra. So I get why she ain't using the Mangekyou, but not using any Sharingan in this high stress situation is a little weird in my opinion. And the other thing that's weird is in the next chapter, she punches this thing straight in the chest where the fat piece of fabric's at, which we all know, but I now at least, these guys can freely teleport anywhere where this fabric's at on these Zetsu-like creatures' bodies. So she kind of screwed herself over. Obviously, she was probably just reacting and she just went for like a very nice and easy target, but if she had her Sharingan open, she would have probably avoided that. But it doesn't really matter as Hidari has her now and he tries to absorb her on sight, like right then and there. He's not playing games, he's not waiting. But then Boruto does a nice little maneuver as he throws his shuriken into the neck of this tree creature and uses the Fly Raijin to instantly get right there above Hidari and instantly uses a Rinnegan to just like break through Hidari's arm, showing how strong the Rinnegan is at any level of caliber. But because Boruto is using it, obviously is stronger than anyone else's. Boruto is pretty much on par with these guys even when he's not using any other powers, which is very impressive no matter how you look at it. But not only does this little small segment of a chapter show you the skill and the power that Boruto has, but it also shows you how much he has evolved certain skills. Like at first I only thought that he can use the flying Raijin with the shapes that he pre-marked or like the numbers that he pre-marked in collaboration with the Toads, but it appears that he can use the flying Raijin on anything as long as he has his chakra embedded into it. Maybe it's still not 1-for-1 with Minato, but it's better than what I originally thought last chapter his flying Raijin was at, so that is something. Hidari does immediately go back into the claw mark, which again is insanely fast. He's like instantly gone, and even Sarada says she's just gonna go heal because she has been shown to show the ability to heal, and he does show up in their main base hideout on top of the box that seems to be also made out of just the pure black fabric maybe, and then we see tree limbs descend down and start to heal Hidari. Now that's also very interesting how that works. Yeah, it seems like they have complete control over this tree, which is shocking to me. I thought they all like came from the tree and then like that was kind of it for the tree. At first, that's what I thought. And I thought they were gonna like together, like at some point fuse back into a tree, become the perfect being after they get Boruto or Kawaki, you know, eat up. And after they get these guys that they really have the hankering for to eat. But nah, apparently this tree still is a thing that can move on its own and these guys have complete command over it. And then he comes back immediately and we see it focus in on his Rinnegan, and a whole bunch of claw marks come up. Now, as we know from the regular Naruto series, especially towards the end of the war, any Rinnegan, apparently, if they're the original owner of the Rinnegan, they can develop a new Rinnegan ability, similar to how the Mangaku Sharingan is personalized to each individual. So is the Rinnegan. While they all should have the same base powers of the Rinnegan, which is like the 6 paths power. And we see that Hidari's here is just to make a whole bunch more claw mark, which I guess is better. I mean, it does seem like that is pretty good for like, you know, to like teleport really fast and do like some guerrilla tactic. A little underwhelming still though, seeing how Limbo Clones is, I mean, in my opinion, is still a better power. And even the freeform switch teleportation that Sasuke has, it's also still a little bit better. But I mean, this is on the same vein as that, seeing how he can still teleport and being able to summon a crap ton of claw marks at the same time instead of putting them down manually. This is still going to be insanely fast of teleportation. It's just going to be a little bit more predictable and not as good as what Sasuke had or what Madara has, seeing how Madara can also teleport between his clones. Now that I think about it, this is the third personal Rinnegan ability that has the ability to teleport something embedded in the ability. Like there's a teleportation somewhere in the ability. I don't know if that means anything, but so far we got 3 for 3. But anyway, back into the chapter, Hidari goes back into the ground. Sarada immediately tells Boruto to go into the air while she, you know, deals with him on the ground. She's probably thinking of using her Sharingan here at this point, but then Boruto ruins that plan as he says, nope, I'm not doing that. That's not the plan we're going to go with. He's going to be using his new technique, Uzuhiko. I'm probably saying that wrong, but you know what I mean. He's going to be using it at maximum output, which Boruto 100% believes will one-shot Hidari regardless of what type of being this guy is. Sarada hasn't seen this technique because, you know, she wasn't really there for the code fight or wasn't really paying attention for the code fight. But Boruto explains it by saying it's the energy of the integral force accompanying a planet's rotation and orbit. I call it a planet's chakra, but Uzuhiko is a new Rinnegan that utilizes that energy, which is pretty interesting because it shows that, man, he's been studying. Even thinking of that concept is kind of wild to me. To use the Earth rotation as a power, I'm like, what made you want to do that? I mean, the Rasengan spin, but to find out that the Earth spins, well, now that I think about it, this is modern day ninja, and they have shown they are pretty scientific, so he probably learned it in one class or another that the Earth rotates and all this stuff. But still, to use that as a basis is pretty insane, and then to actually succeed in making it a skill and utilizing it as a basis is even more insane. Sarada is obviously stunned. She's like, dang, Boruto's been working. What have I been doing all these years? I still rock it with the Shidori. But you know, she reflects that, man, a single shot of this jutsu can take him down without letting him escape via the claw mark. Boruto's like, it's possible if I don't hold back, because there's no limit to this power. Now when he says that, that does make sense, seeing how he is using the Earth rotation and the orbit of the earth. Like he's using like everything about the earth, like the constant rotation and the fact that it is moving through space probably also. So like it's rotating and then rotating around the sun and then moving through space at the same time. I don't know if he's using that part of it, but you know, at least two parts he's using. And probably also like the mass of the earth to some degree has to be put into the equation here, which is why he has to plant his feet on the ground. It makes sense why this move is pretty much limitless. It's probably more than enough to destroy a planet, especially if you can somehow turn it into an attack, which is again insane to think of. Even more insane that he managed to do it. I'm trying to figure out who he practiced that on, because it definitely wasn't Sasuke or Kenshin. I think his name is Kenshin, the Jiraiya clone, because I mean they would just be dead. So he must have used this crazy attack. He told everyone to walk away from this area. I don't know what the limits he used it on, but he had to test the limits and realize, man, it can go for as long as I can go, and that's crazy. But there's also obviously a downside with this move, seeing how it does take the energy of the world, and it does takes a while to gather, especially enough to kill an Otsutsuki of this caliber, which Hidari is pretty top tier. But still, Boruto's pretty confident that if he charged up long enough, he can one-shot him. So I'm just like, I can buy you time, easy. But immediately, you know, Hidari starts to show up. He's trying to use his lightning technique, but Konohamaru is on the job. He's no longer spaced out. Boruto has snapped him back into reality enough times. He's with the movement here as he uses his ability, Rasen Barrier. I swore it was called Rasen Barricade last time, but same difference. Actually, Rasen Barrier might be a different variation of Rasen Barricade, because with the Rasen Barricade, he got pushed back he got knocked into a building. With this though, he completely withstood the force of this overpower lightning jutsu that Hidari tries to unleash sneakily. Like this Rasen Barrier, even though Konohamaru should be nowhere near Hidari, tanks it easily. Makes sense in how the Rasengan is one of the strongest hitting moves in the whole show. So turn it into a defensive move is pretty good. Not as good as making a world-ending move, but still pretty good though. Konohamaru, give you prop. But Boruto is not going to give Konohamaru props, as he's like, I thought I told you to guard Himawari. I don't know what you think you're doing, but I didn't need your help right there. But Konohamaru was like, yo, I can decide what I'm doing. Instead of complaining, how about you get that jutsu going, man? Like, you the key to success, get to making the key. But while they're all spaced out, Sarda gets grabbed for like the third time in this fight. Again, not using her Sharingan, which would allow her to react to these movements a lot easier, because that's what the Sharingan does. Precognition to a degree, but hey, yo, I don't know why she's not using it again. She might be no, she can't be tired. She seems pretty active and like energized. And we know this because in the next page, she uses the Chidori stream to electrify Hidari, stunning him to a degree, and then she throws the man, you know, giving Boruto a nice alley-oop to finish it. Boruto says, you know, this still isn't good enough. It's only been like 3 seconds, but hey, I'll show you what it can do. It lands. He calls out the name, and just a massive tornado wells up from the ground all the way up into the sky. Whirlwind of just pure power sends Hidari into the air, and from the looks of it, completely destroys this man. It didn't one-shot him, but it got really close. As you can see, he basically only has a torso and an arm left, so it didn't one-shot him, but it got him really close, and he's trying to get away. Boruto can't get to him fast enough, but he doesn't need to, as Kawaki has finally made it to the scene and shrinks all the claw marks into non-existent. Kawaki then pins him down, tries to act pretty cool, and then, you know, steals the kill. Konohamaru says it was nice work, but Kawaki's not really caring. But then he's also surprised for a second as he sees a little bulb with thorns on it and what looks to be a Rinnegan in the middle of the bulb. And then Boruto catches it, that the bulb kind of like just materialized. So I guess this is like something that can't be truly destroyed unless you want to like hit it twice, maybe, or absorb it. We'll see. No one knows what it is, but Boruto, oddly enough, does, as he confers with pretty much his sensei and says, yep, I've seen that before. It's a Thorn Soul bulb. And actually, look, like he's in Sage mode right now for whatever reason. Don't know why, but that's what it looks like. Or he's using the toad as eyes, like literally. It just reflects back onto him, which is a pretty popular anime trope. Now, right here, I want to stop because this is a little weird because apparently this man has seen this thing before, meaning that he has taken down a clone tree, which isn't too unbelievable, seeing how these guys had some prior knowledge about these trees and even tried to warn Code about it, meaning that they had to have had something going on or had to have known something from somebody somehow. Whatever it is, he has at least seen it before. Boruto hasn't, meaning this wasn't during Boruto's time of training with him. So had that been the in-between time where everyone thought he was dead, but he wasn't? I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll probably find out more about that later. Back into it, Kawaki decides to try to, show Boruto who's boss. Boruto doesn't really care, as he says that this soul bulb is pretty much can be used to save Sasuke, which I'm going to assume if he gives it to Sasuke or tries to implant it in Sasuke, this will give Sasuke's soul back and get him out of the tree, maybe. And Boruto probably isn't 100% sure in this fact either, seeing how this is his first time he's seen this. But it's a step in one direction, right? Boruto does tell Kawaki to let go of him or he's going to cut off his arm. Pretty tough. And Kawaki decides to stare this man down, which I don't get why Kawaki is even trying anything, knowing that Boruto, like, undeniably Boruto is better. Then we proceed to, Boruto getting sniped from a pretty far distance away. Now everyone's running towards Boruto. Kawaki saying, Delta, what the heck going on? And here goes Jura coming with the snipe again. And Delta is just watching the man. Now she knows she can't take him. So yeah, she's just gonna watch whatever the heck he's doing. Sarda sees Boruto hurt, but she also looks at the bulb and tries to go for it anyway, because it can save her dad. But then Jura snipes her arm, which is pretty insane, seeing how going from Delta's statement, the distance has to be pretty far for him to snipe her like that. Like, it has to be pretty insane for that to happen, which this might show us a little bit more of his personal Rinnegan ability, as we see with Hidari. Hidari can make multiple claw marks. Maybe this dude can just be like a god tier sniper. I mean, he does seem to really like using his eyes when it goes to attacking. And we also see that the bolt floats up and immediately gets pulled all the way over to Jura, like, pretty fast. And then the chapter ends with Jura being surprised that Boruto even knows what this item is, and that now he's a threat that should be eliminated instead of absorbed. So he's just been put into enemy number 1. Not even worth eating, because obviously this soul bulb thing is probably a huge weakness, and that's how the chapter ends. Now, I do want to talk about a couple of things. One, immediately we'll go back to Jura. His sniping ability has to be a Rinnegan ability that, like, enhances thing. And we also know that the Rinnegan, has the base abilities of pull, of attraction, and repulsion. And we know that from pain. And it seems like Jura has that, like, times 10. Like, it seems like distance really doesn't matter to him when he activates his ability. As we see that with the sniping, and then we see him just commanding that bulb to fly into his hand. It seems like his Rinnegan is pretty top tier. Now, it's pretty sad because I always wanted the Hyugas to have something of that caliber, seeing how they have been shown to increase their eyesight to very far distances and be able to see things from leagues away. I was kind of hoping for like a Hyuga to, like, become a sniper one day, like, not like have his Byakugan be able to snipe people, but like develop, how like they develop the gentle fist because they can use their Byakugan that way. If one was like, hey, I can see really far, how about I make a ninjutsu that can shoot really far? It might take a lot of chakra, sure, but it can be a guaranteed kill when no one knows that you can snipe that far. The other thing is that power that Boruto used, the Uzuhiko, does indeed seem to be very much limitless. I think it has the potential to, like, just straight up one-shot anybody if you can use the full power of Earth's rotation like that. And I also imagine if you were to somehow take it a step further, or like use Sage Mode along with it, oh boy, that would be insane. If he uses Sage Mode plus his Karma Mark and then the Earth's rotation, that will pretty much give him the ability to one-shot anybody in the verse, as long as he has the time to build it up. And we already saw what, like, very little time he needed to build up to, like, almost one-shot one of these Osasu. Again, Jura doesn't seem too bothered by that, even though we clearly know he watched the entire fight. He didn't seem to care too much. In fact, I think he just did this for a training lesson for Hidari. Like, hey, I can get him at any point, but he needs to learn how to fight on his own. He's a little too fresh and he needs some practical skills. And I think Jura did that on purpose, just to, one, because I mean his Rinnegan is a pretty top tier scouting ability too, to see what all of Boruto can do when playing accordingly against that. Probably have only air battles from now on. And two, to have, Hidari, get some practical skills in, to maybe see what will happen if he actually manages to absorb his chosen prey. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video, guys. The wild chapter. I can't wait to see what's next. Again, if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like down below, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.